Right Networks helps accountants move their accounting-based desktop and legacy applications to the cloud, giving you the freedom and flexibility to scale your business, expand into new locations, and deliver an even higher level of service. All you have to do is one thing. Go to rightnetworks.com. That's right with an R. rightnetworks.com, or call them at 888-417-4448, extension 1. Tell Mike and Ron sent you. All right, guys, let's kick things off.
And today, right here, right now, this is the moment that you will finally say,
I'm growing my accounting practice, and you're going to discover exactly how right here, right now, today on the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast.
Episode 114.
Never break from script, McAllowitz. Never break from script, McAllowitz. Never break from script, McAllowitz.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Ron Saharian, co-founder of Profit First Professionals.
And I'm Mike McAllowitz, also the co-founder of Profit First Professionals, also the author of Profit First, also a brand new book that's coming out about 9 months away right now called Prime Time. Making your business super efficient. Once you identify that key function in your business where the primary focus should be that time, the entire business elevates. So what's your business's prime time? And you, my friends, you're listening to GMAP. It stands for Grow My Accounting Practice. This is a show where we teach you the step-by-step how to grow your bookkeeping or accounting practice. And we have a lot packed in one single show. We interview an amazing guest, Billie-Anne Grigg. We have the GMAP Now task, and with this new segment called Insider Access, where you learn kind of the cool tips that we're shoveling out here to our members.
Yeah, giving a little bit of insight into what's going on behind the scenes here at Profit First Home Base. And of course, we have a great guest today, right, Mike?
We do, Billie-Anne Grigg.
And she's sitting right next to us.
She is.
Right.
Hey, Billie-Anne, you ready?
Yeah, this is a lot different than being on the phone.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
And of course, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, and of course, my favorite, growmyaccountingpractice.com. And that's where you're going to see our top 10. Billie-Anne's is a top 10.
That's true. Top 10 episodes of our 114 plus now. Here's another thing. I want you to send a text over to us. Text is GMAP, G-M-A-P. Send it to 678-506-7543. Why, do you ask? Well, pray tell. We are offering you free access to our webinars. Totally free. Don't pay a penny.
Not even a penny.
Yeah.
But free.
But free. So, but you got to send the text. You got to take that first step. The number is 678-506-7543. Use the text GMAP, and we'll hook you up. Oh. And you know who hooks us up? It's our corporate partners, Ron.
Absolutely.
Who are they?
Funbox, Next TV, Receipt Bank, Right Networks.
Yes.
Like that?
I love that one.
That's me rolling my R's.
It's pretty cool. Right Networks.
Max Headroom.
Yeah. You know that voice right there? That's Billie-Anne Grigg. She's been a bookkeeper since before the turn of the century. And by the way, that's this one. So that's, yeah. That wasn't nice.
That's not so bad.
Yeah. For a second, I was like, geez, Billie-Anne. She is a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, Live Plan Expert Advisor, a mastery level certified Profit First professional too. And Billie-Anne started her business, which is Pocket Protector Bookkeeping, in 2012. And she's thrilled, and we are thrilled, that she joined Profit First Professionals Home Base this past August. So welcome.
Welcome
guys.
Family.
Thank you.
It was a no-brainer. Ron and I sent some messages out. We were looking for another guide. And some members wrote back and said, don't look any further. She's amongst us. And we said, who is it? And they said, it's Billie-Anne Grigg. And I'm like, we knew it.
And just so all you listeners, in case you're not aware, a Profit First guide, is a human being who we assign to each selected firm to work with on a regular basis, to be their lifeline, to help them implement Profit First within the business, help them take advantage of the brand association, and really help them rock the service and marketing differentiator. So welcome, Billie-Anne.
Yep. So we're going to talk in a second about her perspectives, pre and post being PFP. But there's one thing you don't know about Billie-Anne that everyone's got to know. She is a Bollywood fanatic fan. Those movies are pretty good.
Right.
I love the dance scenes.
And mad martial arts action fan. Favorite one? Drunken Monkey?
Five Deadly... Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not like the old Kung Fu stuff on Channel 5.
No, the old stuff's good too, but I can't think of any of those names. So right now it's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
So with a karate chop, welcome to the show, Billie-Anne, officially now. So I want to get your perspective on bookkeeping and the transition that bookkeeping has had, because you've been with it since prior to the turn of the century. So what did bookkeeping look like back then, and what have you seen happen in the transition?
Yeah, back when I started bookkeeping, it was still very transactionally based. You got the information from your clients, you entered all their receipts into QuickBooks or whatever your accounting package was. You spit out some financial statements at the end of the month, and you gave those to your client. Maybe you had a meeting to discuss those financial statements with them. Well, now, over the past 20 years, that has changed significantly to where there's still a bit of a manual component, but most of that manual component is going away. We're not entering the data anymore. We are managing data that is flowing in through different sources, it's kind of caused a conundrum because since we're moving away from the transactional base, then we've got clients asking us, okay, so what can you do for me as a bookkeeper? You don't do tax returns. What kind of value can you provide to me if all of this stuff is coming in automatically through a bank feed or through some other source? So we've had to become much more consultative in order to prove our value and in order to stay in business. And bookkeepers are we're uniquely leveraged to do this because we're managing that data. We know our clients' businesses and our employers' businesses very intimately in a way that a tax accountant doesn't. So we can become more management consultants and accounting managers rather than just a bookkeeper or just a tax pro.
But that sounds like a challenge right out of the gate. If a client comes to you and says, well, hold on, everything's going online, everything's automated, what do you do for me as a bookkeeper? And now you have to say, well, I can do consulting, I can do so forth. But stuck in their head is what a bookkeeper does.
Absolutely.
It's like a taxi cab driver saying, oh, I can shine your shoes. I'm like, but taxi cab drivers drive taxis. How do you get past that preconceived understanding of what a bookkeeper is?
You go into it as something different than a bookkeeper.
Okay.
So in my practice, I started leveraging myself as a strategic consultant.
I see.
We use bookkeeping as a tool to help us do that, to help us grow your business and specifically your profitability. But bookkeeping is a tool we use. It was a bit difficult because my business name is Pocket Protector Bookkeeping. It's kind of hard to deny that we're a bookkeeping firm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's you have to attack it at a different angle, or else the question I got a lot of times from somebody who did call me just for bookkeeping services is, well, I can get an hourly bookkeeper to do this for $10 or $15 an hour.
Right. And that's the result of advancements in software. There's downward price pressure. Offshoring is becoming very popular now. More people are embracing it because of technology. So now you got to compete at a price that you can't even live off of.
Absolutely.
Okay. But at the same time, I don't know if people are saying, I need a strategic consultant or Googling strategic consultant for my business. How do you get that blend between what they want and what they need and differentiating yourself?
You become a profit first professional.
Okay. Well done. That's why we pay her the big bucks. Okay, so that's one venue, but one outlet, and I'm flattered, and I know you're saying that sincerely.
Yeah.
Is that the only way? I mean, how do you make this leap over?
You have to differentiate yourself. A niche focus is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
To get to really intimately know an industry, which is something that I struggled with, identifying with a niche focus. But the more you can do that, the more you can leverage yourself as a position of saying, hey, you know what? I know what your profit margins are supposed to be because I work with other businesses like yours. Or I know what your KPIs should be on payroll expense, rent expense, things like that. Marketing expenses is a big one. Am I spending enough on marketing? Am I spending too much? So being able to put yourself out there as someone who understands the financial aspect, because there are bunches of coaches out there who understand the, just the getting the sales aspect or the marketing aspect. But to understand the financial aspect of what your clients are going through is huge.
Well, and Billie-Anne, when did you start to realize that there was this this change in the industry?
Probably about 3 years ago, about the time I became a profit first professional, actually. Right. But yeah, about 3 years ago, I really started noticing that, bank feeds, I was getting through a client's bookkeeping work in just a few minutes. And I thought, that means I can take on more clients, but maybe not in the way that I want to. So I started seeing, even at that time, I started having clients say, well, why don't we just hook up the bank feeds and let these things happen on their own? So yeah, it's been coming for a while. It's been longer than 3 years since it's been coming. It's just when I recognized it.
Right.
It's funny. I see the transition in any industry kind of like an exploding star. It actually gets bigger before it gets smaller. And I think what's happening, and we're at the tail end of it now, is with the efficiencies of technology, your bookkeeping work, the amount of time you spend on it dropped. But if you were doing a flat rate, you had to maintain that rate. So for a period of time, you actually get a big jump. But then the customer catches on and says, hold on, why don't I just do this in-house? And now they stop hiring you, and then there's this instant collapse. Did you see something like that?
I didn't see a collapse in my own business because I kept working to assure the clients of the value they were getting working with us. What I did see, though, is kind of a pressure to start bringing on even more clients because we had the bandwidth to do so, but also because maybe some of those other clients would decide that we're not worth it. And since we had the bandwidth, we might as well bring on more clients.
Now, you're a big fan of embracing technology. Actually, one reason Ron and I are so excited about you is you know more about the technology in this space by far than either of us do combined. Is there an opportunity still today for traditional bookkeepers and accountants to embrace the technology that's out there?
Oh, absolutely. And they almost have to. I mean, there will probably be a subset of business owners who decide that they want everything done offline. And so that could be a good niche focus for someone who absolutely doesn't want to work online or do any of the technology stuff. But for the most part, most business owners are going to be going to the cloud. There are still way, way more business owners than there are accountants and bookkeepers. So the opportunity is there. I wouldn't wait too much longer, though, because if you're not embracing that, you're going to be way behind the curve. And then you have a lot that you have to learn.
So if you have not embraced the technology that's out there yet, is there a place to get started?
You know, I like QuickBooks Online. Any sort of accounting or app program. Again, be very specific to what your ideal client or what your niche is using. So you go onto the app marketplace and you see tons of apps, and it's very overwhelming very, very quickly. And I mean, I have shiny object syndrome, so I'll see a new app come out and think, oh, that's cool. I want to play with that. But I don't have any clients who use it. So even though it might look cool, there's really no practical reason for me to know how to use it.
What I'm hearing is the starting point is you got to have an online accounting system.
You have to.
Okay, so start that. And the big ones are QBO, right? Xero, which is particularly big in Australia, New Zealand, UK. In the U.S., it's growing, getting traction. Sage
is another good one. Yeah. Really big in Canada, I've heard.
Sages, yeah. And I think it's more slanted toward inventory, at least historically they were. And then you have FreshBooks. I mean, so pick your platform, and you're saying pick it based upon what your clients need.
Yeah.
What about that client resistance? What about that client who's old school? He's using or she's using QBD, QuickBooks Desktop, and that's actually why they're hiring you. But if you cling onto that one customer that's doing that, and all the other customers are going online makes no sense. Have you had to do that? How do you address that old school customer?
You know, I have a couple of those old school customers. One, I honestly keep in desktop because I have memorized reports there that it would be a pain in the butt to try to replicate in QBO. The other one, though, she works and lives in a remote area. She has a hard time with internet access. And she lives and dies by what's in her QuickBooks file. They are working in their QuickBooks file every single day. That's where they manage all their inventory, their sales receipts. There are ways that you can work with those clients remotely. She's in Iowa. I'm in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are sharing platforms that you can use so where she's not working online, it's not hosted, but she can use her QuickBooks file, release the lock on it, and then I use it when I'm ready to do her bookkeeping work.
Okay, so you can do that. And, of course, Right Networks are a support of the show. Actually will help facilitate that even further.
Well, from what I'm hearing, though, is you're not saying abandon everything that you have going on.
No.
Make the transition. Stick your, big toe into the water and, try it, learn it.
Yeah.
Now, was there a fear?
From the clients, I had one or two who gave me a little bit of pushback. Oh, is it safe? Is it secure?
Sure.
How do I know my data's safe? What do you mean I have to put in my banking account login to start this bank feed? And my biggest thing overcoming that is these cloud accounting platforms spend so much money on security that, you might think that your data is more secure hosted on your local server, but is your local server backed up every single night? Are there multiple redundancies in place? So you do back it up every night. Do you put your backups in more than one location? What about hacking and virus
Yeah, your
protection and stuff
security.
like that. You know, the security, you can get pretty good security for the consumer level, but these cloud accounting platforms have people specifically dedicated to security. That is their full-time job. They have a whole team doing this. Your data is much more secure in the cloud than it is sitting on your desktop or on your server in your office.
Interesting.
Right, and when QBO came out, there was a lot of pushback from it. We know it wasn't great. It's still not. It's better. It's a lot better than it was. What would you say to some of our listeners that just flat out maybe gave it a try early on and were like, it's garbage, no good?
Give it another try. Put your service-based clients on it. QBO does great with service-based businesses. So start there. And if you have any simple job costing that you need to do, QBO can handle simple job costing. Not quite there with progress invoicing yet, but it can do a lot. And every week I will talk to a business owner who will say, my accountant or my bookkeeper has said that QBO is not a good fit for my business. And I'll say, I disagree. In fact, I think you'll be happier with QBO than you are with your desktop version, and here's why.
Yeah, so that's what we're seeing in the industry too, is that some bookkeepers and accountants that are familiar with QBD are telling their customers QBO is not ready for you. But quite frankly, it's the bookkeeper who's not ready.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there's a lot of fear, I think, still from bookkeepers and accountants. They learn something new. If you've worked in QuickBooks desktop version for 20 years or longer, yeah,
You know it.
You know it. You're comfortable with it. You know all the keyboard shortcuts. It seems like QBO runs slower because it's in your browser or whatever. There's just a learning curve. We're all resistant to change.
And you know what I learned yesterday? Bookkeepers don't like taking their hands off the keyboard.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, we hate to take our hands off the keyboard to use the mouse to move it and click. It slows us down.
Oh, so
If
you use
can
the control and function keys.
Yeah, shortcuts, tab keys, onboard calculators. Yeah.
Do you remember there was what was the word processor before Microsoft Word? There was one that used only control keys and function keys. I used to use it all the time.
What was that, Word Perfect or something?
Word Perfect. That was it. Word Perfect. Control F5 exclamation mark would do like an underline or something.
Right.
But you knew all these commands in your head, and it was very efficient. Let's talk about the transition into becoming a profit first professional, because I want people listening to actually help kind of gauge if this is a fit for them. You elected to become a profit first professional. I just want to set the stage. About 3 years ago, you are one of only 2 people ever to pass the certification at 100%. A little smirk's coming out there. Sure. You are the first ever award winner of, we called it back then, Rockstar of the Year. It's our Member of the Year. There's someone who applies the philosophy in their own business, rolls out to as many clients as possible, educating others and supporting others. And it's moved your business forward, I believe, in significant ways. Just tell us a little bit about your profit first experience, and how do you know if someone listening right now if it's a fit for them or not a fit?
Gosh.
You,
Okay.
you know what? Let's take this back a little bit.
Sure.
Billie-Anne started when early on. So you've seen where we were and where we are now, which is a lot different.
Right.
Okay. So I just wanted to also understand your experience from then to what the folks joining us now
Okay.
are
Okay.
getting.
Yeah, good. Okay, so when I joined Profit First Professionals, I thought I was getting a tool to help my clients who had cash flow problems, which, let's face it, was all of them. I had these beautiful spreadsheets that I still love, but it wasn't connecting with the client because they didn't understand there was a behavior change that had to go along with that spreadsheet. So I thought, okay, when I'm joining Profit First Professionals, I'm going to get this tool that I'm going to be able to use to implement this with my clients, and I get some pretty cool branding too. What I didn't realize is that I was also getting a family and business support. Being a Profit First Professional, putting myself out there as a PFP, being able to use the branding and speak about Profit First, that was all great. But also the support that I got in pricing, in hiring, in my marketing, in putting together presentations, just all of that other stuff way beyond what I ever expected that I would get. And now 3 years later, it's even better. There's a 6-month orientation process now that everybody goes through before they're certified. So Profit First by the time that you say you're certified. You still get the help with the pricing, but that's becoming, an offering too, that a more in-depth program. The pricing piece of it is marketing. You know, all the guides here. I've had an opportunity to listen to all
Yeah.
of them this week, and the passion that they have for their members, and
Yeah.
all of the different things that they know and that they've learned. To help their members implement this in their business, and also to escalate their accounting practice and grow their accounting practice using that differentiator of profit first.
Yeah. And I think the family aspect has impressed me because that's above and beyond.
That was your goal. That
was my goal.
Early on, you wanted a real family, a real collaborative.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were doing the university and the Facebook group, it was all about, man, let's keep it limited and let's have it super collaboration.
Right. Yeah, our goal for this organization, we have 178 members today. Mm-hmm. We want to get to 1,000 members over time, but the 1,000 right members. But also in the bookkeeping space, there's 80,000 bookkeepers. There's 50,000 accountants. Like if you look at the space we're serving, so we want to be the minority. But we've always wanted to be a family. And what I found, and tell me if this is true, Billie-Anne, is that the knowledge you can gain, the support you can gain, is not actually out of our offices where we're sitting here today, right now. It's in the community itself. That the greater knowledge and support is actually there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not just with your business. I mean, my mom passed away 5 months ago, and I got such an outpouring of love and support from PFPs. Some of my best friends are fellow Profit First professionals.
I love
So,
hearing
I
that.
have my longtime best friends that I had from high school and college and stuff like that. But my current grown-up best friends, they're Profit First professionals.
Yeah, because I guess we get each other, and I'm not a Profit First professional myself, but the community gets, we get each other.
You're the ultimate Profit First professional.
Yeah, but I'm not like a
You're not
bookkeeper.
an
I'm
accountant,
not
right.
delivering the service. We get this each other, but also I think it's a new mentality versus this massive wall of an old mentality. It's not it's not an us against them thing.
Right.
It's just us trying to introduce a change against this huge momentum of old beliefs.
Yeah, it is so foreign to me now when I encounter an accountant or bookkeeper who you tell them, oh, I own a bookkeeping firm, and you can just feel them close off because you're competition.
Yeah.
We don't have competition within PFP.
Yeah.
Within Profit First Professionals, we're collaborative. We help each other, So what if I'm working in the same space? I serve my clients differently than you serve yours.
Right.
So guess what? If a client's not a good fit for me, maybe they're a good fit for you.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. Billie-Anne will say, hey, this person's not right for me. I know Cindy, probably better for Cindy. And even our newer members, an opportunity came. You know what? They're looking for more advanced tax than I'm capable of providing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of partnering up too. I call them the triads, where our coaches work with our accountants, our bookkeepers. I remember, Billie-Anne, you were getting a lot of work from Dr. Starling. Because I was talking to Dr. Starling, who's a PFP also, in the coaching aspect. She runs a profit assessment. And I was talking to her and said, how the profit assessments are going. She's like, Billie-Anne does them. Right. I don't have to worry about them. They're exactly accurate. And I have someone that I can refer to when my client has a question about some of the detailed numbers. I have my partner on the phone with me on the spot. So there's those collaborative opportunities. Let's go to the kind of the final stage. So our members are like, you got to hire Billie-Anne. We're like, we wanted to anyway. So we I don't know. It was kind of like that awkward thing, well, I've admired you from afar, but I never called you.
Crying out loud.
Well, remember a while ago we were talking about you helping our guides at an hourly rate.
Right.
And so this is something that we've kind of been seeding a little bit.
Yeah, but never really we never had the guts to step up and say, "Would you work with us?"
No, please.
So we finally had the courage to do it, and thank God we asked. But it's also required that we don't want you shutting down your practice. We want you to keep experiencing that and growing that. It's great income for you, but it's also, it's a way to stay steeped in the environment. Now you're forced to run your practice, a little bit here on weekends and at nights. It's just started, but what's the transition been like so far?
Well, you're talking to the world's biggest micromanager.
Okay.
So it's probably good that I procrastinated in hiring a bookkeeping manager to take most of the day-to-day that I was still doing off of me. A week ago was her first day, a week and 2 days. She's been awesome. She stepped right in. She started managing the team, which frankly is something that I'm not great at. I'm good at being a friend to the team, but not so great at managing the team. I had to say yes to this opportunity. And so I had to do the thing that I've been talking about for well over a year now, and that is figuring out how to get the day-to-day off of me and delegate that, truly delegate it, not just piecemeal it, which is what I had been doing, to someone else. I'm not going to say it's not going to be bumpy, because I'm sure it is. But so far, I'm very pleased and impressed with the way that the team has pulled together under the bookkeeping manager. And of course, I think I made a great hire with the bookkeeping manager. So we have some behaviors that we have to change within the team, and I've just been very upfront, ego check. I've been very upfront with my bookkeeping manager that any shortcomings in the team are entirely my fault, because I've never, I just...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never had to address that before.
Exactly.
So for our listeners, should they ultimately become a Profit First professional or not, it sounds like for you to trigger off this action of not working inside your business anymore, a big, new, massive commitment got you out in 1 week, when before you've been procrastinating about this for at least 365 days.
At least.
At least. Okay.
Well, we can't hire everybody.
Yeah, everyone, you're hired. Yeah, we can't hire people, but I guess you need a massive life event to take this step. What do you suggest to our listeners to get this started?
Well, I needed a massive life event to take this step. Yeah. No, you know what? You just have to want it bad enough. For me, it was, I said that I wanted to become the person in the practice who just consulted with the clients and kind of moved to a more coaching standpoint. But apparently I didn't want it bad enough. I didn't want that as bad as I wanted to come to work for you guys. So, that's that. Just wanting it so bad, and being at a place where it's the right time. I think that there was a good, I don't know, coalescence of different factors. I kicked myself for 2 or 3 days. That's all the time I had to kick myself for not hiring sooner. But then my new bookkeeping manager told me, but if you had placed that ad a week earlier, I wasn't looking for a job then.
Interesting.
I didn't start looking for a job until the day you placed the ad, and I turned in my resume.
Interesting. Now, what is a bookkeeping manager?
That's what I call the person who does my job in the practice now.
Okay. But what does that mean? What responsibilities is this person taking?
She is taking over managing the team, making sure that everybody is meeting deadlines. She's reviewing the team's work. My team consists of 2.5, because my son's a member of the team too. But
so he's the halfer?
Yeah, he's the halfer. But 2.5 very part-time, pretty junior bookkeepers. They have accounting degrees, but not a whole lot of bookkeeping experience. So, there are different things. There's a difference between knowing the theory of accounting, which they do, and knowing the practical application of accounting. So she reviews their work. I have a checklist and a process already set up that I'd been using for a couple of months. And then just making the team better. I have her working on some education initiatives with the team, some training initiatives, to where I just want everybody to get better. Ultimately, I want Pocket Protector Bookkeeping to be seen as an ideal place to work. And I think that my team was already happy because they had flexible hours and they could work from home. But that's part of her position too. After the first 90 days, is just getting comfortable.
I gotcha. Now, one challenge I think that may come up from our listeners is you hired a bookkeeping manager, but you have supplanted your income, right? You have a new source of income for yourself personally. So you're still taking an income, I hope, from your bookkeeping business, but it's probably reduced because you have to defer some of this to bookkeeping manager.
Right.
I think that's the fear so many people have, like saying, I can't hire someone because I can't afford to make less for myself. Is that the reason people are kicking the can down the road? And do you have any solution to that?
It's the fear that they can't replace that income, because looking at this now, I can look at it and I can see that if I had made this move, if I had saved my money to where I could take a hit in my income for 3 months and made this move, I would have more than replaced what I'm paying the bookkeeping manager in new, higher level strategic clients who wanted the consulting service and the strategic stuff, which is what I like to do anyway.
And a higher investment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So
I'm not doing strategy for $500 a month.
Right.
So, because you're the best salesperson. I think it's true for every owner. No one can sell to your level because you have such intimate knowledge and such intimate care about your business.
Right.
And I would presume, do you see that to be true for all the bookkeepers and accountants that you work with and support?
Yeah, and I think that is where they fall into the trap of thinking they're the one who has to do the work. I'm the one who made the sale. I'm the one who has the rapport with the client. Therefore, they're not going to want to work with me if I'm not the one doing the work. That's not true. When I sent out the email introducing my bookkeeping manager and framing it as a very positive thing for the client, oh my gosh, we got such an outpouring of welcome to the team, Kathy. You know, we're looking forward to working with you. Can't wait to see what you do. You've got a great employer in Billie-Anne, you know, just all of that great stuff.
That's wonderful.
All of those fears that we have are self-made fears. Our client, you might have one or two clients who say, but I only want to work with you.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, they hired you to perform a service. And so if you pass that off to your team and your team does a good job, it doesn't matter to them that you're not the one actually doing the work.
Gotcha. And with Kathy, did you have to empower her to make decision making? I don't know if I'm asking the questions right, but you can give her the tasks. But does she have the freedom to make strategic decisions for your company?
Yeah, she does. In fact, she's embraced that. We have a saying in the South that you bow up a little bit. So if you do something to a cow or a horse that they don't like, you know, they kind of rear back and they bow up. There have been a couple of times already that she said something and I've found myself, you know, just mentally bowing up a little. Ego check time. You know what? Okay, check the ego. Yeah, so she came up with this idea. Maybe it isn't exactly what you wanted to do, but it's not bad. So let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
You're empowering right away.
Yeah.
So it's
Good
funny,
for you.
as I'm doing research for this new book I'm writing, it's called Prime Time, and making a business run efficiently. The number one mistake entrepreneurs make is they make decisions for their employees. And when an employee makes a decision and it's not a good decision, they try to correct it. And if you try to correct a decision, you actually disable them for making decisions. And you get back. So basically the rule is empower your employees to make decisions. When they come to you and say, what should I do? Force them to make the decision. Do not answer for them ever. And if they make a decision that's incongruent with what you want, still support the decision. That's the tough one.
That's the tough one, but you're exactly right. And that's what I'd been doing to my team. They would try to solve something, and I would say, yeah, that's not exactly right. I'm just going to go in and fix it. No training or anything at all, mind you. I just went in and fixed it. They never learned anything.
Right.
And it disempowered them too.
Right. It disempowers them. And it's very subtle. I don't even think they think they're being disempowered, but they start seeing, the path is when something goes awry or I don't really get 100%, just give it to Billie-Anne. She'll get it fixed.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I also see that, you know, when we do it here sometimes when we're getting away from that, it's, you know, well, Ron's going to do it anyway. So why doesn't, you know, I'll just say, hey, this needs to be done.
The easy path.
Mike's going to, easiest path.
Easiest path. Yeah. Easy path. So, okay, good. That's an interesting insight. Okay, so you're transitioning in. Now you're starting to work with some bookkeepers and accountants. I mean, literally, you've been here physically 1 week. The onboarding remotely, as we call it now, is starting next week. We're going to get you all remotely set up. Make sure before you leave, by the way, to make sure Jake gets that Zoom tested out. So I don't know if he's left already, but we want to make sure you can Zoom in for the morning huddles.
Okay.
Just an aside note. Okay. But now you're working with some accountants and bookkeepers and coaches, some of our members. What are you finding out about our members, and what's the biggest things they can benefit to grow their accounting practices?
You know, so far I've found that the members that I've spoken with are having many of the same problems that I have had in my own business. We're not in this alone. None of us are in this alone. And it's funny because we start thinking, maybe because of social media, maybe because it's just instinct to make everything sound rosy all the time.
Yes.
So we think we're the only ones having this problem. We're all having basically the same problems. We're just at different places in the path. You know, people think, oh, well, once I get to this point in my business, I'm not going to have this problem anymore. Well, no, you're probably not going to have that problem, but you're going to have another one. And other people playing at your level are probably having the same problems. And if they're not, if they've overcome them, they're a resource to you now to where you can go. And they, most of the time, are going to be willing to help you by saying, hey, this is how I overcame that problem. Or let me give you a different perspective of this than maybe what you're seeing because you're so close to it.
So it really sounds like almost like your position is psychological. It's a battle in our own heads.
Yeah, it is. We
Limiting
are all
beliefs.
our own. Limiting beliefs. We're all our own worst enemy.
Right. Yeah, and but you've broken through it. In certain areas, maybe you still were challenged. Other members have broken through it. What can people do to break through those mental barriers? Anyone that's listening right now.
You know, probably the best bit of advice I got was from a client of mine, and he is he's mostly a solopreneur, but he has a team of contractors who work for him. And I asked him because he was looking through his project list. He's like, okay, well, that won't bill for 6 months, and by then I'll probably be behind because I won't have started working on it. And I said, okay, so how do you handle that when you get behind? Aren't you afraid because your project-based work, it slows up the whole project? And he said, well, a technician tends to try to control everything, and we tend to fall into this thinking that if we can control everything, then the outcome is going to be the same every time and it's going to be perfect. And it's not going to be. So you just have to let go of that. Go into it thinking that it's going to be 100% every time. But like an athlete who goes into a game, if they don't win the game, they don't just go home and never play again. So yeah, just, you just have to go into it. Number one, letting go of the control. Trust your team. Definitely trust your team. Even if they make a mistake, it's not anything that can't be fixed. But then, let them fix it. Don't go in there and fix it for them, for sure. And get over the fear that people are going to, or that your clients or your customers or whomever are going to be thinking that they're getting a diminished level of service by working with your team, because your team represents you.
I love it.
Or even that, you're getting more efficient and you're charging more. And, get over that too. Charge more.
Charge more. Charge more.
Charge more.
Please charge more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Charge more because you're helping other bookkeepers and accountants when you charge more too.
That's true.
When you and I first spoke many moons ago, you were hourly?
No.
Oh, you were fixed?
Yeah, but I was charging pennies basically.
Right. You want to share?
$75 a month for full charge bookkeeping with maybe one or two people on payroll.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
Right.
now 7,500.
I know.
But
yeah, right.
But I think it's a disservice to charge the client too little too. And,
It is.
and I think people get stuck on this because the client's always looking for the cheapest price is our belief. But the reality is the client needs to be invested in the outcome. And the more we charge them, the more they value us as being significant and important, and the more vested they are in successfully supporting that relationship.
Right.
There are price shoppers out there. But if someone's price shopping just wants the cheapest value, they see you as cheap. And that's not the way you want to be perceived in being a professional like you are. All right, hey, we got to rock and roll. Believe it or not.
Wow.
I know, the time flew.
Wow.
Billie-Anne, if people want to reach out to you, I heard you got a new email address. How can people get hold of you?
Well, you can email me at Billie-Anne@ProfitFirstProfessionals.com.
Awesome.
I don't know what my phone number is yet, but
Also, 855-802-2994.
Extension 7118.
There you go.
awesome.
We know your number.
I'll
by
write
heart.
that down.
Right.
All right,
It's not the
Billie-Anne.
one you have now, though, but that will be the one when you're in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us today, Billie-Anne.
Thanks.
Awesome stuff.
All right, but hang tight because we're going to talk about you. So
Enjoy the ride.
in a second, we're going to summarize what Ron and I learned. We're also going to do the Insider Access, our new little program we have. And I got a great GMAP Now task for you. But first.
You got the sound up again, huh?
Yeah, the thing's being a little bit of a pain. First, I want to thank our corporate partners. Make the show a reality. You want to rattle them off, Ron?
Yep. Fun box.
Oh, Funbox is a cash flow accelerator. Did you ever use them, Billie-Anne?
Yeah.
Okay. They're great. If you have an invoice due or your clients have an invoice due, Funbox releases those funds in its entirety to you, right? 100% on the spot. When I say on the spot, within 24
You
hours.
get it the next day.
Yeah, next day. And then when you get the money back in from your client, you just return the money to Funbox plus their service fee, right?
Right. And if you pay it off early, you don't pay as much of the fee.
Oh, that's right. So the sooner you pay it, okay, good.
That's great. And don't forget, do you have Nextiva?
I do now.
Yeah. So phone's coming in.
There we go.
Did they get shipped down to your house already?
I have it. It's plugged in. It's not set up right
Awesome.
yet.
Okay.
Right.
Well, the setup will take seconds. The technical support at Nextiva is literally that good.
Right.
Call them on your cell because your phone's not set up and say, hey, I got my new phone. It's like, bloop, bloop, you're connected.
Right. And what about Receipt Bank? Do you have that app?
No, I use a different one.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for your honesty. It's
Yeah.
probably not as good as this one, but
I'm sure it's not.
You know what Receipt Bank does?
I know it's, yeah.
Yeah. So Receipt Bank, we call it the ultimate productivity tool. All those invoices, all those receipts you get to scan, actually any document you can scan in, it syncs up with QBO or any of these platforms. Fantastic tool.
And
We both use it regularly.
oh yeah, every day. And don't forget about Right Networks, Mike.
Right
Can't
Networks.
forget about these guys. I mean, talk about what they're doing. You mentioned it last episode.
Yeah. So they're taking desktop applications and putting them on the web. So they web empower or cloud I don't know if the word's cloudize your desktop applications. But this transition period is difficult for accountants and bookkeepers. A lot of clients still want to stick with the desktop for some reason. And now you can get them on the web so you both have access to it, work from anywhere, anytime with Right Networks.
Awesome.
Okay. So, Ron, why don't we talk about what we learned today? How about I go first? You've gone first the last few times.
Okay.
And you always take my good ones. So, first of all, I think the biggest takeaway I got from Billie-Anne was none of us are alone. She goes, we all think we're a solo island,
right?
But we're a continent together. We just don't see each other. Be aware that the challenges you're facing are not unique to you. There's a family of us out here. So you're not alone. I think the other takeaway was don't use the term bookkeeper or accountant anymore. And we've heard this before.
Right.
You're using a term that's generic and there's downward price pressure. Billie-Anne said, be a business expert, be a business financial expert was one of the terms you used. And I like that one. And then the other thing is that...
You're going to give me a shot? You're going to take all the good ones, and then I'm not going to have anything to say?
You go.
Right.
You go. That's a good point.
I didn't learn anything.
Yeah, she was horrible. She was absolutely horrible.
No,
I turned this up. Here it is. One more time. There you go.
What I learned, which confirmed again, is that the fear. You have to face your fear, and you got to want it. You got to really, really want it. And also, the fear is due to our own limiting beliefs. The fear that they cannot replace their income, And the only way you're going to realize this is to do it. Just do it. Take that first initial step, right? And making the transition to the cloud. I love that tip about pick your cloud accounting software, but then put your service-based companies on it first. They're the easiest.
I'm actually happy you went because I was going to say that tip. I really was. So it's a good thing you said that. All right, Ron, let's pull out that old lightsaber of yours.
No. Yep.
This is our new insider access. There's stuff that Ron and our team, Billie-Anne, are teaching to Profit First professional members. We want to give you a little sense of what's going on, so maybe you can use one of these tips yourself. One thing we do is called a morning huddle, and we do that internally here at Profit First Professionals.
Right.
Why is that a powerful tool, Ron? Why should people be doing that, and how's it work?
Sets the tone for the day, and it gets everybody to communicate and know what's going on, especially us as business owners. We get a quick little snapshot. We get an understanding of what's hot, what's wrong, and what people are going to be focusing on. And the way we run it, it's a whole company morning huddle, and there's about 11, 12 of us that are there, and most people say, oh my gosh, that huddles, it's going to take 4, 5, 6 hours. No, we have it very structured. Everybody gets 1 minute to talk, and we talk about what we did yesterday, what was good, what our big one today is that we're going to help move the company forward. But what I really enjoy is that we give shout outs. Who helped you yesterday? Additionally, we say personal update, and we learn everything from, there's an illness, there's a birthday, there's a travel vacation, there's
working out in the rain,
working out in the rain, you know what I mean? New cars. I mean, all sorts of great insight into our employees. And it really, really bonds the office, the team, and everybody is heard. Everybody has a voice, and we do it in 15 minutes.
Yeah. That's the big thing, right? We got 12 people here, and we do 15 minutes or less.
Right, and the tip also is to do it at a weird time. If you start at 9, okay, that's a little late in the day, personally. Okay, so we start ours every morning at 8:34.
Right.
Why? Because we've learned in the past before, if you started at 8:30, people are going to come in at 8:30.
Yeah, they'll come into the office at 8:30.
At 30.
Yeah, so the idea of specificity, the more specific the time is, the more likely people will arrive at the time. And an oddball specific time, 8:34, it's a clear start. 8:30 is a rounding, 9 o'clock is a rounding.
And we also have fun. Whoever earns the most shout-outs gets to spin a prize wheel, a fun wheel, in essence. And, it really does set the tone for the office. You get an update. You have fun. But I wouldn't recommend doing what we just did, which was to buy I don't even know what to call it.
It's a clock. It's a countdown clock.
It's a countdown clock.
Yeah, that's for Profit Con. So we so we have a dimmer. It's so bright, it's blinding.
It's so blinding.
So blinding. So let's roll through this. So consider doing a huddle for your business. And let's talk about doing one more thing. It's the GMAP Now task. Billie-Anne, would you lay down $25 to change your business from working in the business to on the business, is that worth $25?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you would do too, right, Ron?
Yeah.
Well, you did do it, Billie-Anne. You put $25 on the ad for your bookkeeper, manager. And that's all it costs. Everyone listening to the show today, right now, just run the ad. I don't care if you're ready for that person or not. Run the ad. It's the trigger for getting the person in, start meeting them. You might be blown away like Billie-Anne was, and now you have your person. But until you run the ad, it'll never start. So
Love
today,
it.
right now,
Yeah.
lay down $25.
Boom.
Okay, we got to rock and roll. We're getting a little loquacious here at the end there. So let's get out of here, Ron.
Right. Awesome. And thank you, Billie-Anne, for joining us in the studio today. It's a pleasure, and welcome to our family.
Thanks, Ron.
Internal family. And thank you, listeners. What an episode. And, of course, you can review us on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. Of course, we would love your 5-star ratings. But your feedback is always important.
And listen, one more thing. I want to see you at ProfitCon. This is your last chance. You know, it's a week away. ProfitCon, September 27th to the 29th in Morristown, New Jersey. Billie-Anne will be there. You're coming right back, right?
I know.
Ron and I will be there.
Members only, family members.
Family members will be there.
Yep,
Other
for-
bookkeepers and accountants. We want you too.
Yes.
So here's what you do. Go to profitcon.us. Go to profitcon, that's profitcon.us. Get your ticket. It's only $7.99. Now, this is your last chance. At the door, you can show up, pay $1,000. Why not get it for $7.99 today? Do it. So get your ticket. Oh, and one more thing, perhaps even bigger than ProfitCon, barely, but just iota bigger, is maybe you want to become a Profit First professional. Maybe you want to do what Billie-Anne's done. Maybe
you want to work
join,
with Billie-Anne.
Maybe you want to work with Billie-Anne. Maybe you want to do what the other members have done and join Profit First Professionals. So, what do? Go to ProfitFirstProfessionals.com. That's step 1. Step 2, click on the Become button. Fill out the form. It's a simple, easy form. Fill it out to the best detail you can. Click on Submit. Then the ball's in our court. We'll get hold of you. One of our team members here will walk through your application, make sure that you're a fit for us, and we'll make sure we're a fit for you. If it's a mutual fit, it's go time.
Awesome.
See you next week, guys.
See ya.
See ya.